Hey guys, welcome to The Strong Young Man. A woman's physical weakness compared to men can actually be her greatest strength. In Paleolithic times, men protected women so that they could have the children that helped preserve the species. Our ancestors recognised the limitations of female strength and divided the labour accordingly. With no real environmental threats, modern women are living in a state of relative peace. The only real threat to a woman's safety is a man that's gone rogue. This is because men are in fact stronger than women. A man could kill a woman with his bare hands if he wanted to. Most pubescent male teenagers will be able to do so without much trouble. With great power comes great responsibility, and society has done well to make violence towards women unacceptable on all fronts. Personally, I think this has gone too far. Modern times dictate that a man is not even allowed to defend himself against a rogue woman. Some women recognise this and they leverage this reversal of power over men because society lets them get away with it. These days, a woman can assault a man with relative impunity, often being encouraged to do so to demonstrate her courage, independence, and power over men. These women fail to understand that there is nothing courageous about hitting someone who cannot or is not allowed to fight back. It's one of the most cowardice things a person can do. Having said this, it remains socially acceptable for a woman to hit a man, but socially unacceptable for a man to even defend himself against a woman attacking him. Most of the time, people become violent when they feel powerless. You have put a person in a state where they feel like they have no other option than to enforce compliance physically. When a woman has exhausted all her covert expressions, she will become overt with her behaviour. This will result in a more direct form of communication and may express itself as violence. Other less common reasons for violence include women with ulterior motives. Less commonly, but not unheard of, is for a woman to bait a man into retaliation. A woman may do this to exact revenge on you for what she considers mistreatment, for extortion, or to feel morally superior. A woman might become violent to bait a man into hitting her so she can become a victim. Becoming a victim puts her in a one-up position to the man, regaining some power and control. There are reports of women even hitting themselves to frame a man for domestic violence because they are so desperate to achieve one of these three outcomes. Understand that in some places, especially in the US, when a domestic dispute is escalated to the police, at least one person must be arrested. If a man has laid so much as a finger on a woman, he will be arrested in these jurisdictions. People view violence towards women as much more seriously than violence towards men. The attitude towards domestic violence is so skewed that women are taken at their word. A woman crazy enough to hit someone she cares about is also very likely to lie about the situation, including your role in the dispute, especially when her emotions are running high. Domestic violence is not that common, but it's common enough that it's a problem that you need to be prepared for. A meta-analysis done by John Archer in the University of Central Lancashire actually indicated that women were slightly more likely than men to use one or more acts of physical aggression and to use such acts more frequently. Obviously, the woke left can't understand this because men are 9 times less likely to lodge a formal complaint. Men just do not whine and complain as much as women do in general. Because of this, most statistical data from police reports actually indicate that women experience intimate partner violence at 4 to 5 times the rate of men. We shouldn't let either sex off the hook for physical violence in relationships. Both should be held equally accountable in the eyes of the law. Unfortunately, this statistic is skewed too. Men are punished more severely than women for the same violent assault against the opposite gender. This is one of the very few examples where men and women have inequitable civil rights, and until this changes, you need to be prepared for a time where you may experience physical violence at the hands of a woman. Here's what to do in 4 simple steps. Step 1. Protect yourself. The first step in the management of abusive women is to protect yourself. I am not talking about physical defence. Physical defence will only get you in trouble. If you are a competent man, and unless a woman is wielding a weapon, she is no serious physical threat to you. The best protection is to film the conflict. This will counter the guilty until proven innocent attitude society has in regards to violence towards women. If a woman exaggerates or twists the reality of what happened, a video is your best defence. Most jurisdictions will allow you to shoot footage liberally on your own property and in public places, which should cover most incidents. Most jurisdictions will also allow you to film on private property owned by others if you are doing so to protect yourself and you are making it obvious that you are filming. Check the laws in your local governing body. If it's illegal to film someone on private property in your jurisdiction, then I encourage you to break this law if the penalty will be less than the punishment experienced if you were to be convicted of domestic violence. Step 2. Diffuse the situation. Diffusing the situation is always the best approach, even and most especially if you are more powerful than them. Remember that most people erupt in anger because they feel powerless. The truly powerful do not need to attack. People with egos like to think that they are stronger than the next individual and will want to prove it, especially when they feel powerless. If you're experiencing violence from a man or a woman, the best way to diffuse the situation is to paradoxically make the other person feel powerful. The best reverse psychology that you can use is to tell them that they are too strong for you and you can't defend yourself against their strength. This works extremely well for women on men, but can also work well for men on women. Unfortunately, it's very, very hard to humble yourself in the face of violence, especially when your emotions are running high. As a rational male, you need to bring your emotions back to baseline. If you confirm their self-opinion in the moment, then they'll have no need to prove it to you anymore. You're confirming for them what they've been trying to prove. Aim to deliver this confirmation in one short sentence by confirming their strength without coming across as sarcastic. Sarcasm and excessive patronising will be too obvious and will only make the situation worse. Saying something like, "Please stop hitting me, you're too strong," is short, genuine, and will give a person's ego everything they need to diffuse the situation. Be subtle, direct, and keep it short without appealing to a woman's mercy. Understand that women do not possess mercy and compassion towards men on the same level that men do towards women. Step 3. Get out of the situation. Flight, don't fight. Once you've disarmed them with your own strength of character by confirming their strength, get the hell out of the situation. There is nothing to be gained from staying in the presence of a violent woman. Never fight back. Revenge and wrath will always cost you something, most probably time in jail. Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves, Confucius. Step 4. Permanently remove them from your life. If you have a close relationship with a violent woman, then you must terminate this toxic relationship immediately. There is too much at stake here. If you experience violence at the hands of a female relative, then you must do everything that you can to avoid coming into close contact with her again, especially without a neutral third party present. Past behaviour is the most reliable predictor of future behaviour. If someone has become violent in the past, it will most certainly happen again. You expose yourself to more instances of future violence, and it's just not worth the risk. If you don't complete these 4 steps, a future conflict will certainly arise. There is always the possibility of your phone running out of charge in this instance, which means that you don't come out of this interaction innocent. Prevention is better than cure, and being on a high state of alert doesn't make for a very satisfying relationship either. Additionally, if these people are violent to you, they will also display violence and aggression towards the people you care about, including family and your future children. They are toxic, and you must terminate these toxic relationships as soon as practicable. Refer back to episode 71 for the ultimate guide to terminating toxic relationships. Remember, the end goal is to get out of the troubling situation you find yourself in with as little damage to your future self as possible. Proceed with the end goal in mind, long-term safety. Physical wounds will heal, and your masculine essence can cope much better with physical wounds compared to your entire life being ruined. Never attack, only defend your position, and only do so if you absolutely have to. Flight is always preferable over a fight. If you have to defend yourself to get yourself into a position where you can set up this strategy, then only use the minimum necessary force. Self-defense is only an acceptable defense in the eyes of the law if you are using the minimum necessary force to get yourself out of that situation and to safety. The moment you fight back in anger when you could have run away is the moment it ceases to be self-defense. Just something to keep in mind. A tendency that I've observed personally with violent women is that women will never take personal accountability for their actions towards you. They will always assign responsibility to you for how you made them feel. Understand that you are never responsible for how any other human feels emotion. Individuals are responsible for feeling and controlling their own emotions, period. There are no exceptions to this rule. Keep this in mind for times where people react and then assign blame to you for how you made them feel. This is gaslighting behaviour and is a sign of a deep narcissist, and you should never tolerate this. Remove all the toxic people from your life and all you'll be left with is a cohort of virtuous people. Thanks for watching today's episode. In episode 118, I'll be talking about male privilege and why it's a total myth. Subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when it drops. Catch you then.